In this video, I will provide evidence that Nazism has never disappeared, but rather continues and on a larger scale. But first, answer the question: have you ever wondered how the word sect affects people? Have you ever thought that by calling someone a sectarian, you can ruin their life forever, cause their persecution, and even take their life? Now let's go over everything in order. What is a sect? A sect is a movement that has separated from some doctrine and opposes it. But did you know that there are 33 denominations in Christianity, and in fact all of them are sects since they separated from the main doctrine and followed their own path? And this would be the correct use of the word. However, in the modern world, the neutral word sect has acquired a negative coloring. And now the term sects is applied not only to religious movements, but also to various business structures, hotels, and personal development courses. And where does all this come from? In 1993, Alexander Dworkin, president of RACIRS, introduced the concept of totalitarian sect. And since then, this word has acquired a strongly negative connotation and began to be used against individuals, organizations, and communities that were uncomfortable for them, and that, according to them, needed to be eliminated. There is a huge list of sects on the RACIRS website. It is interesting that during the Nazi era in Germany, there was an apologetic center that also fought against sects like RACIRS, and there was also a list of sects on their website. By the way, their lists are very similar, but RACIRS has an even more impressive list. There you can find different directions of yoga, Falun Gong, Krishnaism, Sai Baba, astrology, even educational systems like Waldorf, and commercial companies like Avon and Amway. In fact, when I found out, I was left speechless. So Nazism has never disappeared. It has only become more massive. But the sad thing is that adding someone to the list of sects is just the beginning. This is followed by a massive media campaign in which enormous amounts of money are spent. By the way, RACIRS is sponsored by the Russian state, and they also have a network around the world like FECRIS, for example, which is funded by the pockets of French citizens. So, through the media, they create a negative image of the people and organizations they have included in their lists. And now an interesting point: the Nazis at their time acted exactly according to the same scheme. In their lists, they also included Jews, and we can clearly see in their example how propaganda worked at that time, as they were indeed denigrated and called subhuman in the media. Also that people would stop considering them human, which meant they could be treated like animals or even worse. But that's not all. Once the stage of dehumanization is completed, it moves on to the next stage: discrimination. They are prohibited from holding certain positions, they are placed in ghettos, and the final stage is genocide. As soon as the public accepted that the Jews were evil, the Germans went to exterminate them with their own hands. Then came the concentration camps and gas chambers. And what do we see? What happens to those who are labeled as sectarians in our times? The same stages: defamation in the media, discrimination. People are deprived of their right to gather, to communicate with each other about topics of their interest, and to carry out their activities. And then the final stage begins: the persecution, the raids. They torture them, they put them in prison, and even kill them. Anyone can be included in their lists of sectarians. If you listen to any music band, if you go to yoga, if you engage in self-development, it doesn't matter. At some point, RACIRS and their agents around the world may include your community in their list of sects, and you will become a sectarian, along with all the consequences that arise from that. Don't you want a future like this? Do you want to live in a free and democratic world where you don't have to fear for your life? Then let's stop this Nazism together. I learned all of this from the documentary, The Impact. I will leave the link in my profile. If you also believe this is important, watch the documentary, analyze all the facts, and spread this information as much as possible to prevent what happened then in Nazi Germany.